Hey everyone, welcome to the TA podcast. This is me, Rad,
And I'm Phoenix.
and today we are going to talk about a bit about ourselves. That means me and Phoenix. Then I'm going to talk about a bit how we've met each other, and yeah, that's the intro. And then we're going to talk about the rest stuff that's actually in the description of this stream right now. So, as I already said, I'm Rad, and not my actual name, if you didn't notice. If you want to know my real name, the link to my Twitter account is in the description. Trickster Rad is my Twitter handle, and feel free to follow me if you really want to do that. Phoenix has also got the link to her Twitter account in the description, and so does Trickster Animations. So feel free to visit and follow each one of us. Anyways, I'm Rad. I am from the Central Europe Czech Republic, and I admit that may be kind of hard to believe, but I'm studying at High School of Electrical Engineering. So yeah, I founded Trickster Animation. Oh, well, not really founded since it's not a company, but I made Trickster Animations with a bunch of people that I've met on the internet. And this time I've got Phoenix here with me on the podcast to talk about a bunch of stuff. So Phoenix, what can you tell us about yourself?
Well, other than being an artist here with Trickster Animations, I'm also an avid gamer and streaming on Twitch. Do a little bit of everything, a little bit of developing, some indie game dev, playing around with that kind of stuff. I'm a published author and illustrator. And yeah, I guess those are probably the most interesting things about myself.
Yeah.
Or moderately interesting.
That's admittedly really cool if I have to say so myself. And I almost forgot to say, all the graphics of the channel and everything were done by Phoenix here, so props to her. And
Thank you.
Yeah, so Trickster Animations. I decided to start Trickster Animations as originally it actually started with a single project, which we codenamed The Secret Republic. Kind of spooky to some people who were joining in in the project, especially once I shared them the Google Drive forward that I'm like, Secret Republic, what the fuck did I join onto? So yeah, later we just renamed it onto Trickster Animation since we didn't want to work on just that one project. But yeah.
Or get on any FBI watch lists or anything like that.
Yeah, that too. Although the Secret Republic folder is still in the Trickster Animation folder. Anyway, so yeah, that's the thing. So it was actually founded by me and a guy who has since left the group, since he didn't have time to actually work on the project too much.
Who has time? I don't have time.
I mean, right now it's probably me, a tiny bit of Gardenan, and that's well, you, if you had anything to work on.
I know.
But that's it, if I'm being honest. From the how many, I'm just gonna give a wild guess. 7 people that's on right now in the group.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how Trickster Animation got made. So Phoenix, how did you get to graphics design in particular?
Ooh, that's interesting. Well, I guess the way
I warned you about a question ahead of time.
I sort of stumbled into that because I've always been into drawing and sketching and stuff, and so when I went to go publish my book, which is a children's book, and I needed to do the illustrations for it, it wasn't something I could really just do and sketch on paper, like the scanning of that. It was like, okay, so now I'm going to have to cross over from just being a regular illustrator sketch to actually doing like graphic arts and like doing it like digitally. So that was kind of a challenge, like to cross over. Like even just the simple like using those like art like the pads where you draw on it and it draws on the screen,
Oh, you
like
mean the graphics
you know,
tablets?
yeah, exactly. So like I would have to like be looking at the screen instead of at my hand, and it's like, you know, it was just like such, it was kind of a mind fuck to like like have it like split the difference instead of like actually like looking at my hand at on the paper and like drawing exactly where I was, you know, drawing. So yeah, it took a little bit of a, you know, to get adapted to doing it, and I'm still, you know, learning plenty more tricks. And but yeah, that's how I started crossing over into graphics. And then, you know, not to mention when we were doing some of the indie game dev and stuff, like with me and Roboto, we needed more graphics, and of course, you know, he's, you know, really good at that stuff as well. So I started trying to help out, and, you know, started to get a little bit better and better with, like, you know, the graphic design and logos and icons and all that kind of 2D stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. About the graphics tablets, I actually am owner of one myself, so I know all about the weirdness of using one.
Totally.
That is not to say that I'm great at graphics and drawing in general. I am not. I originally bought it for playing OS.
For playing what?
OS is what's it's usually pronounced, the way it's usually pronounced, but it is spelled OSU exclamation mark. I am going to post a link in the chat
Yeah,
right
no,
now.
I'm just trying to think, like, you know, from like a game dev like perspective, like where and why one would make that the input.
So yeah, if you knew about something about a game, you would actually know exactly why
Okay.
it would take an input as a tablet. There are actually graphics tablets that are made specifically for playing OS. Like, they don't have much of the graphics stuff, and they're fairly cheap, but they are made specifically for playing OS. So yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, so I got into animation and stuff like this that I'm doing right now because, well, like when I was a child, I think I was like 4 years old, I got my first camera, and I was just taking pictures and recording everything I could possibly could. We were actually, me and my grandpa, we were having some, yeah, we were just randomly recording and pretending to be news anchors. We just like, there's this huge dining kitchen and everything room in their house. It's like a really huge room, and there's a kitchen, dining room, and living room and everything. But the bedrooms and stuff are somewhere else. But we there was this huge round table at which we would sit. There would be a camera either put on the window or like on a tripod, and it would be recording, and we would just be saying whatever just came into our minds. It was really fun, actually, especially for a child like me. Anyway, so yeah, that's basically how I got to content creation, you could say, even though it never got published. I got into content creation at a really young age. So yeah, that's. I mean, later it I could say, hid itself in favor of electronics because I love electronics and stuff like that. That's also why I study electrical engineering. But yeah, I think 2 years before I was supposed to go to high school, my love for filmmaking has showed itself, and I started watching channels like Film Riot. By the way, a channel I can recommend for every aspiring filmmaker, and Rooster Teeth, which actually is a great channel. They do some amazing animated shows, if I say so myself, and I really love their show RWBY. Anyway, so that's how I just got into this place and decided to start Trickster Animations. Also, one of the reasons why I decided to start Trickster Animations. So now that we've got these introductions out of the way, Phoenix, why do you think that Firefly is poor man's dark matter? Actually,
no,
no, the other way around. Sorry, the other way around.
I described Dark Matter as
that
the
up,
poor man's Firefly.
Yeah, exactly. I messed that one up. I'm sorry about that. I'm so,
a little bit offended.
I should have said Firefly, the rich man's Dark Matter.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yes, that's precisely what it is. Now, first off, I have seen all of Firefly, and I saw Firefly first before watching Dark Matter, whereas Red has started watching Dark Matter and he's never seen Firefly. So that prefaced. First of all, Dark Matter is like very clearly like based on like Firefly, like a lot of the concepts and in the like character like makeup themselves. I mean, I don't know, for anybody who's seen both, like the character that Summer Glau plays, there's like I think the character that you like the most in Dark Matter, the young girl.
Yeah, Daz is her name, but Five is the.
That's right. Five.
Yeah, Five.
Basically, like that's mirroring her part, and then you've got the wild guy who's like mirroring the Jane character in Firefly. So there's a lot of like parallels and whatever. Firefly obviously at this point is like sort of like a cult classic. I mean, it only went on for one season. It was canceled after that one season, and then like sort of randomly became like
canceled after one season.
Right.
Really? Oh, that's...
and it became like a quick like cult classic, like a couple of years later at least. Like it wasn't like right away, and then it became like hugely popular. Okay. But yeah, I that show is amazing. But Dark Matter is a good show. Like I do like it. I describe it as the poor man's Firefly because I really wish Firefly could have gone on for several seasons. Like it was just such an intense show.
Yeah, Dark Matter has gone for I think 3 seasons now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame it got cancelled by Sci-Fi. Really.
So it did get cancelled.
Yeah, it did. Well, Sci-Fi. If we knew it got cancelled, Sci-Fi cancelled it. But Joseph Malozzi, the showrunner and writer of Dark Matter, actually tried to resurrect it. And today, I think, while we had rehearsals in my choir, I have actually read a news article about MGM, the producers behind Stargate, who also, I think Joseph Malozzi, co-produced, and I think maybe has co-written too, but MGM wanted to pick up Dark Matter 2 and put it on their streaming service that has been made specifically for Stargate fans. But it seems that there are some contractual issues according to Joseph Malozzi and his blog. So yeah, it seems that Dark Matter is not being continued or renewed or anything else that would be great for the Dark Matter fans. But Joseph Malozzi has said that he will finish Dark Matter in a comic book adaptation, which, by the way, is how Dark Matter actually started. It is initially a comic book. So I'm also going to say just a few tiny details. For example, Daz, the geeky girl character in Dark Matter, is actually a boy in the book, in the comic book. So yeah.
Oh, it is. Oh, it's based on a comic book too.
Well, the comic book is written by Joseph Malozzi and I think Paul Milley, but yeah, they've written I think something, and they later, because of the fan responses and everything, they just decided to make it also into a show. So I mean, a bunch of things had to change for the show. One of the things were the fact that Daz, by the way, with an S. A mistake that I made. Daz with an S. Yeah, he was a guy in the comics, but now she's a girl in the show. And,
well, it's a good show. I like it.
And personally, I think that Jodel Furland, the actress that's playing Five, portrays her perfectly, like spot on. That's just my personal opinion. By the way, yes, she's the actress that has played in, I think, is Scary Movie or something like that. I'm not sure. I think is.
Really?
Yeah, I have no idea.
I've never seen it either, so
I'm just
actually,
gonna.
which is interesting.
I'm just going to just do a quick search and verify that oh, Silent Hill. And she played in Silent Hill.
Oh, that makes a whole lot more sense.
Yeah.
You said Scary Movie, right?
Yes,
Scary Movie is like a ridiculous, like crazy parody of like, or wait, would it be satire? Maybe it's satire. I don't know, but it's like a joke movie, and it's like,
yeah, I know.
it's crazy in a pro.
Oh.
Silent Hill makes a whole lot more sense.
By the way, did you see the big? I'm not sure if it's Big Fat Liar or Bigger Fatter Liar. Either of those. It's there are some really interesting scenes. There's like this programming scene in the movie. Like it's about game dev and how a boy's ideas was stolen by by a rich guy who's the
Oh, right.
CEO of a corporation and stuff, and the boy tries and actually succeeds at getting back at the guy. But there's like this programming scene in the movie where you can you can see the taskbar and you can see that the active window is VLC Media Player. No, and nobody bothered setting it to like creating some UI and putting it into full screen, and nobody even bothered making sure that, you know how VLC shows the file name of the video playing when the video starts. Nobody even bothered making sure that doesn't show up in the final cut. That's like, I was like, okay, yeah, that's some low budget production right there.
Yeah, so they're just like, they've got like like the keyboard's probably not even like plugged in. They're just like,
yeah, exactly.
It's just like playing its video, the video
like,
file on
there's
VLC
like the
Media
cone
Player.
scrolling by in a loop, and like it's obvious that it's a video playing, and I'm like, yeah,
oh my god, that's
right?
so bad.
It's like, it's supposed to be a comedy. I mean, why not poke fun at that too? Yeah. But yeah, so Jodel Furland also played in that movie, although she wasn't the main character. But she was kind of I would say she was like the main character's sidekick.
Yeah, so going like slightly back to Silent Hill, like I never did see the movie, and actually I really do need to see the movie. Like I love Silent Hill, but I could never get myself to actually own one of the games because, like, I remember when Silent Hill like first came out, like I rented it. You know, this is like, you know, God, back in like 2000, 2001 kind of a thing, and I like rented the game and I went to go play it by myself. So I'm like, you know, in my room, it's dark, it's nighttime, and I start playing Silent Hill. And like the old ones, I don't know how like the newer ones are because I haven't played any of the new ones. But like you're like in this like completely eerie street. It's dark as fuck. It's like misty and foggy, right? And so like that fog of war style gameplay where you can't see very much going on around you. And so I'm like walking around with the character. It's quiet. There's like no sounds except for like maybe some wind. And then all of a sudden I hear like something is like clearly like running at me, and I'm like looking, and I'm like circling my character around trying to find it, and then this dog, this like beast dog, like just jumps out of nowhere, like tackles me. I screamed and jumped up and over my bed and slammed myself into the wall. I jumped so bad. It was like, and after that I like turned off the game. I'm like, I am done playing this right now. That scared the hell out of me. Silent Hill. Because it's so scary. Yeah. I'll have to tell you again later. It's a really, really good show.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
game.
Nothing like, about Silent Hill, if I'm being honest.
Wow, it's fabulous. Like I did. I jumped into the wall. I jumped over like when I was playing Silent Hill for the first time. Oh, it was so funny.
Okay, yeah, that sounds interesting. I definitely will probably watch Silent Hill after this.
I would definitely not play that game by myself in the nighttime when nobody else is around.
Oh yeah, about playing games in the nighttime. I remember when I was like 4 years old, I think it was like maybe 8 p.m. and I decided to play Half-Life. Like Half-Life 1, not Half-Life 2, Half-Life 1. and I had that like that was I was just rattled after it, and I was like, I was just you could if you looked at me, you could have seen me shaking a tiny bit, and I just went to bed, and thankfully I fell asleep. But
Oh.
it's like I was 4 years old, so you gotta give me
I don't even
that.
know how you remember something when you're that young. I don't have any memories when I'm 4.
Well, I mean, I wasn't going to say this, but you are much older than me.
That's fine. I don't care. But I don't have any memories from when I was 4. Even when I was your age, I didn't.
Yeah. So yeah. Yesterday we played DBD with you and a bunch of other people.
Yeah, lots of other people. I'm sorry. I'm getting quite the group of friends in playing Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, like whenever
31 people I've got that are friends playing it right now.
yeah, okay. I mean, I don't have that much friends on Steam, but yeah, I like 15 people are online. 8 of them are in game, and then there's like okay, maybe I've got
Yeah.
like around 30 people on Steam in my friends list.
So
That's
I'm
it.
more than just play Dead by Daylight. I'm pretty much obsessed with it. Like I play it like every day for like a couple hours a day to like I think actually one of the streams that I did on Twitch I have up there and it's 9 hours and 53 minutes.
Oh,
So
by the way, I just played DBD before the podcast, and I suck playing Killer more than I suck playing Survivor, but for some reason, I got an insane amount of blood points playing Killer. Like, I think I got like over 10,000 blood points, which is. I think I've got like 15,000 blood points from a single match, compared to whenever I'm playing Survivor, when I'm glad if I get like over 5,000. But yeah, so I was like. I finished playing Killer, and then I'm like, fuck this, I'm gonna spend all the blood points on my characters and survivors.
Yeah, that I love how it does that. Like no matter how you earn the points or what character or whether you're
Yeah,
killer,
exactly.
survivor, you can spend them
they're
wherever
just
you want,
shared
which is
in your
awesome.
account, which is yeah.
Yep. That is really fun. Yeah, so I am Survivor main, and I've played so much that I've gotten all the way up to rank 1. Now, you would think maybe that might cross over a little bit to how I play as killer, but no. I'm a pretty shit killer. Not very good at it at all. I was trying to play earlier today, and I'm just like, I almost feel like I should say like sorry in advance to the survivors. Like, it's not gonna be a good match, but I try my best. I'm getting a little bit better. I like playing as a Huntress or the Michael Myers character.
Well,
Like when I'm playing
since I have only a single match
so fun.
as the killer behind me, I tried playing as the hillbilly, not Billy Hillbilly,
Oh, okay.
hillbilly. I can't play that character. It's just no, no. Next time I'm playing, I'm probably gonna try Huntress because she has ranged weapons. So yeah, so I'm just gonna try doing that. But hillbilly, no.
Yeah, most people seem to say like if you're Survivor main, then you suck as killer. Like it seems like most people that are Survivor main kind of suck as killer.
I mean, I don't think that I have enough matches behind me to say that I'm a main either.
Oh yeah, I know. I was gonna say to preface. I mean, you've only been playing like but a few times.
I'd say I've got like 10 matches total behind me right now.
Yeah, so you're very very new to the game.
And not to mention that most of them are. I mean, most of them are obviously Survivor, but most of them are friends matches. So yeah. Like.
Whereas I have 343 hours into the game.
Yup. Let me check. You've played for 3 hours. Yeah. Compared to Gary's mod, where I have 112 hours, or Deus Ex Human Revolution, where my total play, because I've got like 2 games, I've got Deus Ex Human Revolution and Deus Ex Human Revolution Director's Cut. That's like over 200 hours, which, considering it's a single player game, like single player only, you would think that there's nobody who would be able to do that, but apparently I am. Which is not surprising considering I've been beta testing HackNet for 2 years before it got released, and most of the time I've been playing the one and this. No, not most of the time, but like towards the end I've been playing one and the same game for like half a year before release. Like
Wow.
there were some slight changes, updates to the graphics, slight changes to the story, making a bit more some missions a bit more complex, making a lot of bug fixes because developments. But that was it. I mean, the story of the game and stuff like that didn't change at all. So yeah. So beta testing games is tough. If you are playing games mostly for story, which I am.
Yeah.
Also, RWBY, RWBY Volume 5 came out. It just came out yesterday, and I think today it's been released for registered users or watchers or whatever. So yeah, I bought the registered first subscription yesterday, and I watched the first episode. I gotta
I've never seen any of those, so
yeah,
I know nothing about it.
I gotta say, I'm I'm starting to really like it, and from the opening. But by the way, RWBY as a series, if you haven't watched it, the openings are usually kind of revealing about how the season or how the volume is gonna go. So that's also one of the reasons why I think that they put the opening after the end of the first episode, and they just put it in the beginning, because who would be that guy who watches the second episode without watching the first one? There's no point in hiding the opening anymore after you've put it in at least once. But judging by the opening, I think it's going to turn around a bit, because right now it's like everything in the story has been going to shit.
I
Uh,
hate when that happens.
but the hope is there, and it seems it's going to get better and better. I mean, considering what the point where they're at right now, it's hard to believe that it could go any worse. Although I'm not saying it can't. But yeah, so I'm really looking forward to watching the rest of the series, rest of the volume, and well, the series too. Yeah, so the first episode didn't reveal that much. It didn't go much deeper into the setting and the story and everything. It just went like introduced the characters and got one of the new main characters to meet the rest of the main characters in the story. So yeah, it's like more of a like setup episode than anything. But unsurprisingly, they have put most of the episode into the trailer. Like I feel like that's what most companies and studios do. They just take the first episode and take snippets from it
Yeah.
and put it into
Well,
the trailer.
especially like if you, I mean, obviously the longer a show's been going on or series or whatever, like the more content you have to pull from. But like, you know,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But yeah, as I said, I'm really looking forward to the rest of the series. Yeah,
you maybe you should put another link to the couple different things we've been
oh yeah,
chatting about, like maybe like Dead by Daylight and RWBY and stuff like that.
yeah, Dead by Daylight. Oh god, I can't speak.
I put it into general if you want to
Oh,
grab it from
okay,
there and
okay.
put it in there.
Oh yeah.
Since I'm not logged in, or since you're logged in as Trickster, but I'm logged in for my personal one, I can't post the link myself.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, we can change that. Yeah. Roosterteeth.com. Here we go. So yeah, that's both the links now in the chat on the podcast. Those things are also gonna be in the description once the podcast is over. But yeah, by the way, Phoenix, have you ever played Borderlands?
You know what? I have not. I think we do have it, but it was one like my sister was playing, and then when she was done playing with it, she gave it to us. The kids were playing it a bit, and like they really enjoyed it, but I have never played it myself.
Oh, okay. That's a real shame because Borderlands is mostly a co-op game,
Is it?
and yeah, it is. It's like 4-player co-op, but you can play it single player, but it really emphasizes like based on the characters and everything. It just really emphasizes the fact this game is made to be played in 4.
Oh, nice. Well, that's cool. Actually, then um, I need to look into that one or open it up and try it out. The other game that I'm like super obsessed with, if it's not Dead by Daylight as of late, has been Battlefield 1. So
Oh, Battlefield 1. That's one of the games I don't have.
Yeah, well, there's not a chance in hell your computer could run it. I'm sorry. Your poor computer.
I mean, it's not the lie.
So, but it's like my computer can like I finally just got it to the point where it can run it like decently and still not in like the highest settings. In fact, I'm pretty sure. Yep. Whilst I'm sitting here talking about Battlefield 1, Roboto is now playing Battlefield 1. We have a group of friends that we play with, and it's one of those things that like if I was playing by myself, I don't tend to like gravitate towards the FPS, but when I'm playing with like friends, I have a blast. I've got I don't have as many hours in on as I do on Dead by Daylight, but I've got easily like 200 hours in on that game.
Oh yeah, speaking of group of friends to play games with, you and Roboto are playing Star Citizen, right? You've got a Kotor and everything.
Yes. Yeah, and Roboto is in Ibokari, so he gets to play around and like work on all those things like well before they come out.
Wait, he's in
To
what?
PTU. There is like a group, a subsection of like the Star Citizen players that are basically in for like they do like the beta testing, or I don't know if it'd be alpha testing or beta testing or whatever it would be considered, um, but he's of. There's only two, he and one other guy in our other group. One of the it's a Star Citizen based group that we got started in.
Yeah.
And so he gets to test everything out first and do like bug testing and all that kind of good stuff before it gets put out live. I've played a little bit, and once 3.0 comes out officially for everybody, not just the Ibokari, then I will be starting to play it more. I'm looking forward to it. It'll actually be really interesting and fun.
Okay, that's nice, and it's kind of nice for Roboto to be able to be part of that side of the process. Because it was something we wanted to talk about too, but I kind of forgot about it. How we've met, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, my side of things was that I was searching for a certain type of games, hacking simulators, because I was in that period where I really liked playing those games, which is, by the way, how I got into beta testing for Hacknow. But I found Roboto's game, Terminal Contract, and well, I played it. Oh, actually, yeah, I sent him an email asking for the account because I think it was like invite only or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think in a week or so I got the account, and I tried playing it a bit, but it was really hard. Like.
Yeah, I kept trying to tell him he was making it too cryptic.
No, the crypticity of the game was not the problem. The problem was that I wasn't used to the game, like to that game type, and the trace that he had, like the trace time, which is like I think 30 seconds or something, was too fast for somebody who didn't know jack shit about the game.
Yeah, too true.
So like yeah, I had problems with that, but then he released
So that was the
some,
start.
yeah, but then he released some guides, and I got into playing it, and I eventually got really good at it, as playing it. We talked with Roboto a lot about the game. He actually gave me like beta testing account, which meant unlocking all the missions that are there and giving me pretty much unlimited amounts of money to spend on softwares and hardwares in the game.
Right.
So of course I did everything I could. I didn't do much of the missions. I just like ran through them, like listening to the, because I think he used like, I think it was Iwona TTS is what he used. Like I know he had a text to speech engine running in the game.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Yeah, the TTS, yeah.
yeah. So like I think we actually later on talked about TTS engines, and he mentioned that yeah, he used the Ivonan TTS engine. So yeah, and so there was like this, you are like contacted over a voice chat, anonymized of course, uh, and like the mission briefing would be in text, but also would be read out to you by the TTS engine running in the background. So that was really nice.
Yeah, I like
So,
that concept.
so yeah, so we initially met. I think we talked. Me, and Roboto talked for like a year or two, maybe, about a game.
Mm-hmm.
I I remember
Yeah,
like,
I think it was like close to 2 years before I really started chatting with you.
yeah, I think maybe 3 years actually before we
Yeah,
started.
maybe. It's been a long time. Shit.
Yeah, but yeah, we just like I remember I kept bugging him about a game. Like it, it, if a month went by where we didn't talk about a game, I was like, so how's Terminal Contract? And he was like, oh yeah, I've got a lot of things to do right now, and I didn't really have time to do the game. So yeah.
Yeah, we've bounced around between like several games, a lot of little indie dev,
Yeah.
projects.
Yeah, and later he actually turned in. Oh yeah, thanks for actually reminding me about the game. I just got into I finally have like some time to actually work on it. Now that you mention it, so yeah, I think he also wrote a blog post on Duct Tape Einstein about it.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, is Duct Tape Einstein still a thing?
No, we ended up taking it down recently.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, just because we sort of had backed away from some of the projects that we were working on, or just like we've sort of taken a break, and so we just kind of took it down for now. I mean, it's always on the back burner to put back up when we're
Yeah.
back on certain projects. But you know how it is. You hate to keep it up if it's like not being actively worked on or stuff like that. So, but that's all right.
By the
We've
way,
always got those projects.
to answer to Adam Abraham's question, if Rooster Teeth did do Red versus Blue, yes, they did. And by the way, both RWBY and Red vs. Blue were originally written by the same writer. I think, yeah, Monty Ohm. But as I think we all know, after the second volume of RWBY finished airing, Monty died tragically. But thankfully, for the show and for the fans of the show, his, I guess, like a co-writer, Kerry Shawcross, took over. So yeah, thanks. I mean, Monty had pre-written the shows for I think like 20 volumes or something like that. But yeah, so partially thanks to that, and thanks to the fact that there was Kerry to take over the show, we still have RWBY, and we're at volume 5 now. Yeah, so that, and about what we were talking about, Phoenix. Oh
Mhm.
yeah. Phoenix?
Yeah.
What were we talking about? I kind of forgot about it.
I didn't know you were asking. I thought you were going back to it. I was like, or we're about to have trouble with his audio over here, so he's banging on things like a gorilla.
Okay.
Other than that, um, we were chatting about just how we um, got to know each other, and then once we started talking, after you'd been talking with Roboto for like 3 years, that's when we started I think chatting about animations or and drawing and illustrations and stuff like that. You had asked me about the potential for like the Secret Republic,
Yeah, I think.
doing a concept art and stuff like that.
Yeah, actually the first time I asked you about that was way before like animating it became a thing, because originally
Oh yeah, that's true.
I actually wanted to write it as a visual novel. And
Right, that's right.
I wanted you to do the graphics for the visual novel if you had
Yeah.
time and stuff. And like I think you actually made one of the characters, right? Well, one
Yeah.
character.
Yeah, I made one character like concept art.
Yeah, didn't get that far, but I really liked it for what it was and how quick you made it. Actually, I think you
Thank
had
you.
it. I think you had it like in less than a day, maybe, or maybe 2 days.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I think that's about right.
within that time range, and considering how many other stuff you must have been doing at that time.
Yeah. That's always my problem. I've got too many ideas and projects and things that I want to do, and
Yeah, exactly.
what you can do, and not enough time to do them all, so I have to like sort of fish and jump around and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. And also, that's not to say that the drawing was awful. It was really great, and just the fact that you did it in such a short time just added that much more onto it. But yeah,
Thank you.
but it just the idea got dropped from my head because I also had lots of other things to do, mainly school, because
Right.
school was being shitty, especially my native language teacher was being really shitty. Like she, yeah, about that. She was okay. So I had her for my last, I think, 3 years of middle school. She was a pain in the bum, and the first half year we had her, she gave me 4, which is like I think a D in in the American grading system.
That bitch.
So yeah, I was like stable getting C's from my native language. I was just fine with that, and my mother was also okay with that, as long as it's. She was like, well, as long as it's not D or God forbid F, then I'm fine with it. Although I am going, of course, I'm going to say something about it. I'm just gonna, it's not gonna be that much of that big of a deal. But that was the first year I got D from my native language, and Mum freaked out because I also had an A from English, and she was like,
She's like, how are you better in English than your own language?
no, she was like, is this bitch saying that you are worse in Czech than in English?
That's quite a slap in the face. Oh my god, that's awesome.
So we actually there's this like option if if you get a grade that you don't like and you feel is not justified, you can request examination, which also like re-examination, which includes being like getting
By somebody else.
no, well, yeah, by somebody else, of course, but you get like basically the teacher who has you for the subject, not just Czech in particular, but just any subject. Um, they have to give you like the stuff you should learn for the re-examination. Like that's gonna be in re-examination. And like my mom was, well, I mean, I was genuinely preparing for the re-examination, but we were focusing mostly on grammar and stuff, and like we weren't really going that much into literal no literal no just books and stuff. So yeah, we weren't going much that way because my mum was thought that it was more important to know grammar than to know that some random ass author wrote some random ass book, and what was the random ass book about. Like seriously, I think knowing how to write properly is more important than knowing that William Shakespeare has written, for example, Romeo and Juliet. I honestly think that knowing how to write properly is much like miles more important than that. But well, yeah, they decided to stay on the grade because they just said that they are going to stay on the grade because I didn't know jack shit about the literature. And my mom was like, "Can I get the transcript from the like because they had like I think 40 minutes to decide on the grade in the commission in the committee, which was like not my teacher, but the teacher that was like leading the exam, the principal of the school, the vice, and I think another Czech teacher in the school, like who was not taking part in the exam but was present as like the another teacher. So like four people, and they had to decide whether they will actually change my grade and what the grade will be if they decide to change it. But we came back in, but they have to have a transcript. And we came back in, and they they said that they decided to make me stay on the grade D. Uh,
Right.
and my mom was like because she was there. Well, okay, I can go for Hamlet if that makes you feel better. But anyways, talking with the live chat. Um. Anyway, so yeah, my mom wanted a transcript from that, like from that process, and there was like from the like office that's supposed to make sure that everything in the schools go by the book, like goes by the book, and she was like, but you don't have any right to do like to risk to get that. And mum was like, yes, I do, uh, because this is regarding my son, and I have no idea how you call it in English. Like, the official term, like, you're a parent of your children, but officially you're like because not only parents can be that, but for example, grandparents or maybe an aunt or something like that. Uh,
Just related family?
no, not just not relative, but like people who are who are like, for example, like if you get a contract, for example, for something, your parents have to sign it because you're
Oh,
unless
because you're
you
a minor.
oh yeah because you're a minor. So
Yeah.
what's that like that called? Like because they don't have to necessarily be your parents. If, for example,
Legal guardian or whatever.
oh yeah, legal guardian. Yes, that. Okay, so legal guardian. Yeah, so she said like she is my legal guardian, and that uh, because it affected the grades affect me. She had right to like she because under the f- thing the transcript affected the grades. She had right to see the transcript, but the the person from the office said no, she doesn't. Unfortunately, like if we had a lawyer with us there that would know about that, he would probably go with that. Like he would say no, she actually does. It's in the law in paragraph whatever, something whatever. But yeah, and actually it is in the law, by the way. I'm just saying. So a member of the office was blatantly lying that there's nothing about that in the law. There is. There is that I as the student have the right to request the transcript or anything leading up to a certain grade or certain decisions about my grades, which the transcript was. So I, as a student, have, but also my legal guardian, if I'm not of like legal age, has the right to request it. So she just blatantly lied into my mother's eyes that no, she doesn't have the right to request it. But we decided to drop it. But the next year, the next half year, I had back my C grade from Czech. Then I had my C grade at the end of the first half of the ninth year in middle school. And then I took an exam, like entrance exam to the high school. And part of it is Czech grammar and literature. I've got 95% of the test.
Oh, nice. Well,
Considering I've been getting C and worse, D and worse, C and worse.
well, luckily for us, you've gotten your language situation together.
C and worse at school. I got 95% out of a test that was designed specifically for testing that, and people who were getting better grades than me had like around 50% or less. It's like, so yeah, the teacher nearly got kicked out of the school because she pissed off my mom. Not even joking there, but she actually like got a warning, and if something similar or even slightly less severe were to happen again, she would be immediately suspended. But yeah, so at the end of the, would you care to guess what I got as my grade at the end of the ninth year?
95%?
No.
I don't know.
A. I just aced it. I just aced the year, but no matter that for the past 2 years and a half, I've been getting grades D and less. I suddenly, at the end of the ninth year, got A, which is like, there's something weird about that. Yeah,
well,
also,
good sir, I think my Dead by Daylight obsession is starting to kick back in.
Okay, yeah, so I'm actually like watching the elapsed time on the stream, and I'm like, Phoenix said that we are going to end after 30 minutes, right? By the way, it's 53 minutes already.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for watching to anybody who has actually been watching. And in a week, same time.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, great. See you in a week then, guys.
See you next time. Bye.